Welcome back, everyone, to the Grindhouse Frostfront Qualifiers Day 1 Group B. Here we have the third match of Group B, which is Misery versus Dead Future. We have Ultra on the side of Misery, killing the survivors of Dead Future here, playing the Demogorgon on the Temple of Purgation here. Overall rocking a pretty standard build, I say. Corrupt Intervention for some of the gen interruption, Pain Resonance for some gen slowdown, Agitation to get some more pain reses, and a Forced Heavy for the for the added value of hook trades here. We're gonna find a really early chase onto Hamden here. We're on the edge of the Temple of Purgation, having to drop a pallet early, and then we're just gonna take a shred head on here. Ultra, I think, losing him just a little bit, but end up going to find Hamden again, and now Hamden has not a lot to work with here. He has a one pallet around here, not the safest pallet in the entire world, definitely an shreddable distance here. Not if Ultra goes for shredded with distance, but Hamden, very good movement here, being able to sidestep the shred, lasting just a little bit longer, but then I'm going to running into the flubbing arms of the Demogorgon once again. It's going to be a very fast down for Ultra here. I'm joined once again with my co-host, I am Robot. Robot, what do you think about this opening the match? I'd overall say that it was a pretty fast chase for Ultra here.
Yeah, I mean, Demogorgon matches are always fun to watch because they're very trace driven. There's a lot of fast action with demo shredding and getting rid of resources quickly. And that was the case here for Ultra. And Ultra able to get the down onto Hamden fairly quickly, to be honest, because no gens have been repaired. And Ultra has a little bit of time here to look around, even check lockers in the area. The setup here for Ultra, I don't think he has like a clear 3-gen. This map is, of course, it's been reduced from its original design, but it's still, I would say, medium size. So those portals are going to come in handy for Ultra to traverse the map and go back and forth. Of course, we have the typical, like you mentioned, the typical add-ons here to get rid of resources fast and recover from shred hits. And that is going to be useful here for Ultra. Like I mentioned, a lot of chase driven gameplay here. This generator is regressing, so it was one generator that had progress, so that is great for Ultra. All that time wasted for survivors that they could have progressed onto another part of the map. But Ultra seems to be content just waiting for Hamden to hit second stage, and that is going to come any second now. So that is it. So Hamden hitting the second stage and Ultra not really moving away from the area. So maybe just trying to see if he can interrupt a rotation here from the survivors of Dead Future, and doesn't seem like they're interested in coming over to get the unhook. And now it is now they decide to come over. I think that was Finesse. Yeah, fortunately here Finesse is not gonna make it. Ultra missing the M1 here, so that gives a little bit of time for for Finesse to go around the tile and waste a little bit more time. I don't know if Ultra is going to commit. No, he's not, and that I think is the play, because he's committed already so much time to Hamden not being unhooked. So now Ultra has information on all three survivors, because Finesse was around. We saw Dino here in the temple, and we heard Fancy finishing off the generator across the map. So Ultra with a lot of information on where everybody is, and most likely not a lot of gen progress, unfortunately, for the survivors of that future. We do see this generator here with just a bit of progress, but not too much for Ultra to commit to the area there. So he finds Finesse again, doesn't have any resources here, so he's gonna have to just hold W and try to force an M1 here. But no, Ultra goes for the shred, so that is going to be faster recovery, and he's going to be able to continue the chase here.
Yeah, absolutely. Using the shred there to get this faster recovery and make sure that Finesse has as little distance as possible here. With the regions remaining on the side of Dead Future, this is definitely doable. To still, if you want to get out, this is still doable. You just need to make sure you last long enough. Jason Finesse is doing a very good job of greeting around that pallet here, but unfortunately does not have much more resources to work with anymore here. Gonna use the crouch to nearly avoid the shred from Ultra here. Very well played by Finesse. And if you look at the pallet drop down, it's gonna be more time wasted as Finesse heads straight to the edge of the map. Another gen pops for Dead Future. Finesse realizing that he's done all he can with all the resources that he has available to him, and is gonna use it die in the comp corner, patented trademarked comp corner death spot here. We're gonna see here Ultra taking off a bit further up into the map, trying to look for a pain res hook. He hears the progress on that gen near Shack. He knows that there's some progress there. I think that is not gonna be a pain res hook used quite yet on Finesse, so still one token left available here. Whoever's running this generator, that's a very high progress, but was forced to abandon it as the hook and Demogorgon are both very nearby themselves. Now it's just Dino and Fancy, the last two that can actually move around the map as Finesse sits on the hook. Another gen gets popped here. We're down to the last gen remaining for Dead Future survivors here. Overall, I think. Oh wait, that's someone coming in. Yeah, that's gonna be Dino running in for the hook here, and not end up being a trade here. He had enough distance to actually make sure he gets it in time, but Ultra and Finesse doing a bit of a standoff at the pallet here. Finesse ends up breaking the standoff by dropping the pallet here, but not enough distance to go here. Constantly trying to bait out the shred, but Ultra does not go for a hastily done shred. It will instead pay the patience. He knows that there's not much Finesse can do here. Let's be another down onto Finesse and a second hook stage onto Finesse. And now the pain rush token being used. That's going to regress the generator, presumably on top of that hill. And now I believe that we saw Dino run towards the direction of Shack, so that might be the next spot that Ultra wants to check. But I think at this point, Fancy and Dino just need to meet up for some sort of reset and try and work out a plan of who goes for the unhook and who sticks to generator. The split right now is actually pretty in favor of Dead Future, I'd say, because you have these two generators kind of close, but you have a hill gen here, and then you also have a gen behind main. That's a pretty fair distance to take between two gens. So it is a 3 gen, and they are kind of proximity, but it's not like the tightest 3 gen in the entire world. I think this is still very much doable for Dead Future here.
Yeah, and we'll see if Ultra decides to use more of the portals here to try to control this generator that has at least a couple pistons going. Actually, 3. Is it 4? Actually, yeah, it's quite a bit of progress here. So Fancy has been busy trying to get some progress here for Dead Future. Ultra is going to tag Fancy, and Fancy's going to have to run away. And Ultra quickly deciding to go back, use the portals, get back on the chase here onto Dino and Finesse, but they have 3 left. There's this pallet here still that Ultra has decided to just shred through. Ultra understanding that Fancy might have gone back to progress this generator, and is that, yeah, that's the case. So Fancy able to finish the gen before Ultra makes it over, and the crouch stick as well. So this chase is going to take just a tad longer for Ultra, and now the M1 is gonna come through. Now Fancy is a fresh hook, and but Ultra decided not to go for it. It's gonna go see if he can take the another tag. Oh no, so Finesse, I didn't notice the DC there, unfortunately. So and it's so far along, you know, in the match that that is going to count against them, unfortunately. So yeah, no, so Dino is the only one left. I think Ultra is not gonna risk it. Ultra is gonna go over and get the unhook. I mean, get the hook for, sorry, for onto Fancy. That is going to be another fresh. I think the only one left will be Dino, the only fresh left. So that is going to be 9 stages here for Ultra. And I mean, most likely, I don't think they're just gonna try to come back and try to get the unhook. Although Ultra is kind of leaving the hook here quite a way, so we'll see if Dino decides to come over. But yeah, I mean, great job by the survivors of Dead Future. They got onto the generators early on, even though Ultra had a little bit of control mid trial with some gen regression there. Still has 2 Painris tokens in the bag, unfortunately. But you know that is, you know, if you have 2 left there, it's just most likely RNG issue. You know, even with the agitation, I think the RNG was not in Ultra's favor. But that sets, you know, 9 stages here for Dead Future to try to beat on the next match. Most likely, we're gonna see Dino playing the Demogorgon. So we're going to take just a few minutes here to set up, and then we'll see the resolution of this matchup between Dead Future and Mystery. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this Frostfront qualifiers matchup between Misery and Dead Future. We have Dead Future playing Killer at the moment, and a few minutes ago we saw Ultra playing Killer for Misery, getting 9 stages to refresh in the previous match. And now Dead Future needs 10 stages or 9 stages for Fresh to get the win and take the 3 points available. I'm robot casting alongside Monarch today. Monarch, we saw an unfortunate DC from Finesse right at the end of the last match, granting Misery the hook stages he had left to give for free. So the win con for that future becomes just a tad more difficult here. What do you think Misery's strategy will be here to get the needed stages out of the gate to win?
Well, I think that Misery is just gonna focus on the same stuff that you typically focus on the set, just taking chase to the right spot and working on gems when your teammates are in chase. Speaking of chase, we're gonna find a really early survivor here around Shack. Now this is actually this is not a very good first chase, I'm not gonna lie. Not only is it around Shack with the pallet still up, even against a Demogorgon, it's not the strongest thing in the world here, but instead I think Finesse Rosen instead is gonna teleport away from Shack here. And I really like the fact that the both survivors we've seen so far have ran deeper into this area of the map, because we know that this is all the corrupt area. So taking a chase down here is very good for the survivors of Misery, as it prevents Finesse from interrupting any gens mid chase here. That's gonna be very early pre-drop coming from Wancy. Wancy now has a lot to work with here. Finesse is gonna work around the hill, is gonna go for the hit. Wancy tries her best to crouch to avoid it, but will not be successful here. Gonna force to drop the power right in Finesse's face. Now Wancy has nothing much else to work with here. Actually, never mind, there's a pallet, because this map has 50 million pallets just scattered around the place for no goddamn reason. We're gonna find chase back onto Wancy here. Wancy doing the absolute best to last as long as possible, and Finesse finally gets the down. I like the adaptation of Finesse's build here. I think Finesse realizing that in order to he really needs to put his foot on the gas, and so he's running triple gen regression here with pain res, pop, and eruption all at the same time. So not only so that means that after hook you get like 25% from pain res, you get the 20% from pop, and then you also can put eruption on a gen, and then a down is another 10%. So that's a total, after a hook, that's a total of about like 60% gen regression on one generator. That's a lot. We're gonna find a chase onto Abby here, being forced to drop the power right in front of Finesse's face. Finesse, satisfied with that, just gonna get rid of these resources very early on, so later in the match it'd be easier to shred people. We're gonna follow the footsteps into Shack. Can we find the survivor inside Shack here? I think they're along the edge of the window, and that you are right, they're around the edge of the window here, forced to drop the pallet early. A very important resource for survivors gone just like that here. Chase back onto Wancy. Wancy hooked already here, not dropping the pallet immediately, instead gonna greet it a little bit. Will it cost him? Yes, it will. That's gonna be another down onto Wancy here. Wancy already on death hook with just 3 gens remaining for Misery.
Yeah, Wancy here, I'm a little surprised that he decided to start working on the generator with the portal there, and still injured. And that is going to cost them, with Finesse being able to get the down relatively quickly, and Wancy on death hook once he is unhooked. So Finesse, something that I wanted to point out is that, like you said, the build, right? It's not chase driven at all. It's all about gen regression, and he's using the portals in a different way here than we saw Ultra use them, and he's just using them to keep track of where survivors are working on. The survivors are not taking the time to. I think they've gotten rid of a couple of these portals, but Finesse is using them to be able to track where they are, being able to, loading up the shred and then getting killer instinct whenever a survivor is close to a portal. So Finesse, that's how he's being able to track down where the survivors have been working. We do see another generator completed, so Wancy's probably going to just die here, and we're going to get to the 3v1 scenario with um 2 generators remaining. Similar situation that we saw before. I think Finesse able to keep track of the gens here. Now we hear another, or we see another um, Killer Instinct proc onto Ultra. And so now Ultra is just going to wait out and is going to get the stun here. Very well done by Ultra and hitting out the, was that? I think that was balanced as well. So a little bit of distance here for Ultra. Not a lot of resources to use, unfortunately. So just going to go around this little medium wall here. And Finesse is going to get the tag. And Ultra is just going to run to this pillar pallet over here. Decent here, but of course we have Demo with the ability to shred and just cut down a lot of distance that we may gain from running around it. So Ultra going down, and Eruption has been progged with a little bit more regression. This hook is unfortunately not available um, for Finesse to use, so he's gonna walk into the middle of the map. But we do see another generator completed, so is this going to be a pain risk hook? It is, so it kind of works out here for Ultra. I mean for Finesse. And we did hear Ace in the distance screaming, so now Finesse has an idea that this is the generator that had been being worked on, and potentially no other progression on any other generator. So Ducky here is going to get a tag. Unfortunately, that was a good shred by Finesse.
Yeah, great
And
play.
we are running into the setup of the gens, unfortunately. So Ducky with the crouch stick not working here, and now Finesse is in a relatively good spot, I would say, because he's going to get a hook right in the middle of the 2 generators that he has left. Now, that one on the corner is kind of far, but I would say with a portal or 2 that he has available here, Finesse might be able to keep track of it. Deciding not to use pop on this generator, so maybe just saving it for later, I guess.
Well,
But
no,
yeah,
it's
so
because
didn't
the
have
gen,
progress.
the gen is still regressed. You can't
Oh, it's
take.
still reversing. Okay, thank you. I didn't see that. So yeah, so we're starting a new chase here onto Abby, and Abby deciding to take the chase away, like you mentioned, Monarch, like getting the death, dying away from where the generators are progressing. I think that that's the key here that we haven't been seeing too much.
Yeah, that's gonna be our 6th stage on the board for Finesse. 4 more stages for the win here. That being said, though, it's actually actually with all 4 of our fresh hooks being collected by Finesse now, it's actually the win con's not been shifted. Now he only needs 3 more stages to win, because um if he gets 3 more stages, that's 9 stages. But because he managed to get 1 more fresh hook as opposed to Ultra, that will end up giving Dead Future the win here. So now the pressure is really on Misery. They really cannot afford to give any more stages yet. The more stages they give, the closer they just give Finesse to winning. I beautiful analysis from me. When you give the killers kills, you end up winning. Beautiful analysis coming from me here. That's gonna be Eruption on the gen that was kicked earlier. Meanwhile, Ducky getting Abby off the hook here, but it's gonna be another hook for Ultra. 2 hooks, 2 stages left for the win for Dead Future. And if Dead Future winning this set will most likely guarantee them a spot in playoffs, because that would give them up to 6 points. And Misery so far, if they lose this set, then they can only get a maximum of 3 points from Meadow now. So this is actually really important for honestly both teams to win, but it's a way more stacked in Dead Future's favor than it is for Misery here. Ducky trying their best, a little bit of patience, try to avoid the shred, but a little patience coming from Finesse here, trying to crouch underneath, trying to reduce the size of their hitbox, but Ducky will still end up being shredded. 1 stage away for Dead Future's win here. That's 8 stages so far with all 4 fresh. 1 more stage will confirm this game for Finesse and Dead Future.
Yeah, great job here by Finesse, keeping track of those generators being progressed with the portals, and also getting a lot of gen regression here. I wanted to point out that Finesse has no, as we see him use pop on this generator, so reducing the progress on it and quickly turning around and getting onto another portal to keep track of the progress here onto this one that he just checked a few minutes ago or a few seconds ago. So Finesse does not have any more tokens of pain res, which ideally that's how you want to end your match. Ultra during the last matchup unfortunately was not able to do that, either RNG or maybe saving it for later, depending on what his strategy was. We'll have to ask him, but that was unfortunate. So that allowed for that
Ooh.
future to progress the generators without having to deal with the gender aggression from Painris. Finesse getting stunned here, and Abby going to go down, unfortunately, just around the Z wall, and Eruption proccing as well. So this is
This is
the
the
ninth
ninth
stage?
stage.
Yeah. So as you pointed out, because Finesse has all four fresh now, that is going to be the win, and they finished the last generator anyway. So now it's just a matter of getting a few people out, but it doesn't matter anymore. The win condition here for Finesse has been met and for Dead Future, so they are going to get another 3 points, and like you said, going to take the number one spot. So now we'll have to see what Misery can do. On their last matchup, but it's not looking great because Gorilla is still with 3 points as well, and we know that those survivors and killer players are very strong. So it's going to be an uphill battle here to see who can take
Yeah.
the next spot. So that is going to do the death onto Ducky, and we'll see if the other two survivors get out.
Yeah, it really feels bad if you're Misery because your tournament life is now kind of out of your hands because now it's we still have all three Meadow matches to play: Meadow versus Dead Future, Misery, and Gorillas. So right now it's like Dead Future are now like have like I mean Misery have like no points on the board right now, so it's like even if they win against Meadow, it's really going to come down to how Meadow plays against around the other teams as well. So it's like at this point where like their tournament lives are kind of out of their hands. It really just comes down to the matches between Meadow and the other teams. But as opposed to Dead Future, they put themselves in a really good spot. They're 6 points. Even if they lose their match against Meadow, that's still you win your matches against Misery and the Gorillas. You're also I think at the moment I think Dead Future is all but guaranteed. I think a spot in the next stage.
Most likely, yeah, yeah. It's they've been doing great, playing out of their minds when they have to go against very good teams as well. Good. Of course, we don't want to diminish the work that Mystery has been doing because the previous match when they were playing Wesker for against Gorilla, Ultra had good pressure. Unfortunately, not able to finish some of those chases fast enough to try to at least get a point on the board for them, and try to tie. And now here, not able to get those generators completed fast enough and get the outs that they needed. So, both teams played well, but of course, the future just did it a little bit better on both sides. So now we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we're going to set up the next match. And yeah, it'll just be a few minutes here. So it'll be Gorilla against Meadow and the Mastermind in Shelter Woods 1. So uh, just stick around. We'll be right back.